Well, BeatStars family, welcome to the first episode of BeatStars Academy of 2022. Happy New Year. It's a bit delayed, but this is the first time that Lee and I have been on. We hope everybody had a good holiday break. I know we did, and we're ready to get started and back to work in the new year. How you doing, Lee?
I'm really good. Yeah, looking forward to this first session of the year. Yeah, looking forward to talking about some of the things that we're going to talk about today with the community. And yeah, really looking forward to today's show. First one of the year, first one of 2022.
Yeah, this is exciting. Lee and I have been talking a lot about kind of the things that we wanted to do on this show this year, and I think this is going to be our best year yet of BeatStars Academy. We're going to try to do
Definitely.
some really interesting stuff for you guys. Try to bring you guys all the tips you need to have your best year yet too on BeatStars and music in general. So before we get started, we just wanted to hear how everybody's holiday break was. How many beats did you make? How many sales did you make over the holiday season? I know it could be like a really kind of like business can be booming sometimes during the holidays. So I hope you guys all made a lot of sales and got a lot of downloads and plays on your beats.
Yeah.
And I want to know what you guys are looking forward to the most in this new year in terms of your business. What's everybody kind of looking to do? Are you going to try to reinvent yourself? Are you going to try to change the game up? What do we got going on? And that's kind of the theme of today. We're just going to talk about some things you could do to start off the year right. Last year, if you guys were with us on BeatStars, we had the 30-day challenge in January, and we kind of wanted to go back to that again, maybe mix it up a little bit and give you guys some things that you could do to really hopefully start the year off right.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I had a good break. Was your break pretty good? Holiday break?
Yeah, it was good, relaxing. Got to chill a little bit. Kind of reinvigorated for the new year, and a lot of exciting stuff going on in BeatStars, as you know. I can't wait for
Yeah.
the community to you know see it and continue to grow. Um, yeah, so we kind of just wanted to keep this as a casual chat. At the end of this show, we kind of want to hear what your guys' goals are for the new year too. So keep the chat lively. Kind of talk about how you felt about your 2021. A lot of this is going to be about like reflecting on the things that you think you did well, the things that you think you need to improve on, because I think that's obviously one of the steps that we're going to be talking about is figuring out where you are and where you want to be, and just figure out how to get there. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, keep dropping knowledge, keep dropping experience, that you could share with each other in the chats too. We can go ahead and get started.
Yes.
Our first step for being successful in 2022 is doing a 2021 year in review of your business. There's kind of a lot that goes into that, but a couple of the main things that we wanted to focus in on is looking at your sales and stats and figuring out exactly what you did well in and kind of what the gap is between where you want to be at the end of this year. So to do that, BeatStars, we have our sales and stats section where you can easily check all that out.
I have that
And
up
you can
if you
kind of show that.
want me to share the
Yeah,
screen.
go ahead and share your screen link.
Because I want to show people how they can use the filter as well, so they can look back at the whole of last year and maybe previous years as well, because that's something that I do. That was the cool thing about the 2021 impact as well, that you was able to compare that with the previous year's one as well, which I really liked, and I did that. So that was cool. So yeah, let me know when you can see my screen. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll just go back. Most people are probably familiar with this now. Can you hear me okay, by the way?
Yeah, you
Cool,
sound
cool.
good.
Cool. Yeah, so to get to your sales information, your stats data, simply go to My Media and click on the Sales tab. And you want to use this Overview tab. The Transactions tab will give you the individual stuff, but the Overview will be kind of like the broad spectrum of your stats for your sales. And you can filter by tracks, albums, negotiations, sound kits, services, and merchandise if you wanted to look at one part of your business, which we will talk about in a bit, some of the other revenues that you can use as an online entrepreneur. But we'll concentrate just on all, which is the stats I like to use, so I get an overall broad view of how I did last year in terms of sales and stuff. Hold on, sorry, we went back. So what you want to do is you want to use this filter option here. So at the moment you can see it's just set to this week. So I'm going to customize this, and I'm going to go back to 2021, and I'm going to start at the 1st of January. And then I'm going to finish it off on 21 December the 31st. So from the 1st of January to the 31st of December. So let's load the report. It loads pretty quickly. And there we go. This is going to give me an overall view of my my sales stats for last year. Which is cool because it gives you the amount of items that you sold. So it tells you how many beats you sold. It will tell you the gross amount that you earned for the year, the discounts that you made, the percentage that you spent out on collabs, and then the net sales and also your collab sales as well. And it also gives you graphs to tell you where you can see where your sales come from. So whether it's marketplace, pro page, players, or widgets, which is really, really cool. And then you can scroll down and just get a bit more information about the tracks that you sold, the most popular ones and stuff like that. So you can get an idea of how good your year was. So this is a great feature, I think. And this is a good place to start, as Jamil was saying, to kind of review, what you did in 2021 and where you feel that you could improve, or it gives you an idea of what you may want to set yourself goals for and targets for 2022 or years to come. So yeah, was there anything else that you wanted to add to this about this section, Jamil?
Yeah, for sure. I just kind of wanted to point out that your goals don't always have to be based around like the amount of money that you earn, right?
Sure.
It's a great thing to set a goal of yourself to look at your stats to see how many beats you uploaded.
Yeah.
If you want to commit yourself to maybe a stricter schedule or an overall number that you're trying to reach, it's just good to like keep the whole picture in mind of what you ended up with last year, and try to remember. And this is why it's good to write these things down. Try to remember at the beginning of 2021, kind of like what your goals were if you set them, and thinking like I was trying to put up a beat a week. And if you came up a little short, that maybe you have to make some changes in your habits so you don't come up short again in this next year.
Yeah.
And looking at yours, was there anything that stuck out to you personally about about where you were last year and kind of where you want to be this year?
Yeah. So I compared my stats from the previous year, which was 2020, to last year, and I noticed that all my stats doubled, if not a little bit more than doubled. So this year I plan to do the same again, or more. I know that I reached recently something like 400,000 streams on BeatStars. So my goal this year is to reach the million by the end of the year. So that was my goal. Because I know that if I don't set myself targets or goals, I won't push myself to like reach them, or like find ways of how I can do that, or set myself up schedules and stuff like that. But one thing I would say, which was very interesting, is that I uploaded less beats last year than I did the year before, yet I made more sales. So I had to sit and think, well, what was it that I did that actually helped me to generate more sales, even though I uploaded less beats? And what it was I realized that just going through and listening to the beats that I uploaded last year, they was of a higher quality compared to the year before. So naturally I've progressed as a producer, engineer, all that kind of stuff, and that's what helped. So but this is the kind of things that you can do, like Jamil was saying, review this stuff. Like just go back and take a step back and just think, right, what was it I did last year to the year before? to help you decide what you want to do this year, you know,
Right.
just so you can give yourself places to go and targets to reach. And I think that's really important that you set
Right.
yourself those goals.
Definitely, that's going to be one of the goals that we talk about a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Setting like realistic targets and like having a lot of small goals. That's really important. Just to like show yourself like how you're progressing. Because if you just set one big goal for the end of the year, you might like lose sight of how much you've grown over the course of months, weeks, days, even. It's
Yeah.
important to to keep that motivation of just like checking boxes as you go along. I know for me that always goes a long way instead of
Yeah.
just like waiting for the big one at the end. It might make you feel like you're not really making progress when you really are.
There's a
And
couple of,
just kind of going back to like that stats page that we was showing earlier, like you
yeah.
should check out and really look into that month by month breakdown.
Yeah. You can
Just
do.
it might be able to give you like a better idea of where exactly things changed for you.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
say for example, you change. If you see a big spike in June, try to like look back and remember like what you were doing in June and what happened. Were you making a different type of beat? Did you
Yeah.
spend more money on promote or
Promotion. Yeah.
advertising?
Yeah.
You know, you might not remember that like when you're in the flow of time. So it's really good to just like take a step back and like review all that stuff.
Definitely. Yeah. No. And that's the thing to do. And that was some of the stuff that I actually did. So I just wanted to answer a couple of questions. They're a bit personal, but concerning my kind of account. But Grandtastic Beats said, did I remove some or all of the beats from the year before if they were of low quality? No, I didn't. And the kind of reason I didn't do that is for this reason, so I can actually go back and see my progression. And not only that, it helps other people to see your progression as well. So I think that's kind of an important thing as well. There was an artist I work with that he actually reached out to me and he says the reason why he had decided to buy some beats from me was because he looked at my first beat and then compared it to my most recent one at that time, and he could see the progression. So he was like, yo, I can see that you take this stuff seriously. So just having like maybe some older beats that you might not feel is, and the other thing is as well, you have to remember that music is very subjective, right? So what you might feel is low quality, someone else it might be their gold for them, you know what I mean? So who knows? So I would never
Right.
remove anything from your account.
Right. Yeah. No. That's why having a pro page account is great because you have unlimited uploads
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
using tools like playlists and track lists to help organize your beats. If
Yep.
you really feel like like your older beats are not the best representation of your current work, you could delete them, but you don't necessarily need to because there's so many organizational tools available to you where you can make sure that people are seeing whatever beats you want to, whether it's your newest ones, whether it's the ones from 3 years ago, whether it's your first ones. If you feel like those are the best beats that you have in your catalog, you can always like arrange things to make sure people are seeing what you want them to see.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, let's go on to step number 2, and
Yeah.
that is do a BeatStars account and pro page audit. It's always good to do like some housekeeping or some spring cleaning, as some people like to call it, at the beginning of a new year. Like we were saying earlier, there's some things along the way that that you might kind of put to the wayside or think like, okay, this isn't that important right now. I don't need to update my artwork. But it's always good to go into a new year with a fresh kind of like, I don't want to say clean slate because I don't mean erase everything, but go into a new year just kind of with like a fresh approach, with like a fresh mind, and sprucing up your pro page and sprucing up your account on the BeatStars marketplace is a great way to do that.
Yeah, definitely agree. There's so many things you can check and make sure. check to make sure you've got your payment accounts connected correctly, because obviously that's the most important thing to receive your sales. I'll give you an example of something that I found in my account the other day where I had to change. That album that you can see that's up there now that says R&B Bangers actually said the artwork was different, and it actually said Black Friday. So obviously Black Friday was quite some time ago, and I only noticed that this week. So that was kind of a bit of a housekeeping that I did, that just went in and just checked to make sure everything was there. Make sure you've got all your licenses set up properly, your pricing, just go and review all of that stuff and just make sure everything's, like you say, is up to scratch and where you want it to be. And then you can start.
Right.
Not like Jamil said, not start again, but it just gives you a fresh kind of start for the year in a sense.
Yeah. Here are the main things that I would say you need to check. Kind of just going down the list. First, look at your tracks and check out your artwork. If you've had an artwork revamp over the course of the year, now might be the time to kind of go back and change those older tracks if you didn't have the time to before. Next, I would check my licenses. Open up all your license types, read through them, make sure they accurately reflect what you are trying to sell. Check out your pricing. It's always good to keep visiting these things and reconsider if you've grown exponentially over the course of the year and you feel like your beats are better, you feel like your beats are worth more money, they're higher quality now, you might want to consider maybe raising your prices a little bit. If you think that you didn't make as many sales as you wanted to and the price might have been an issue, maybe you want to consider lowering it a bit to see if you can get on a roll to start the new year, then maybe adjust that later. You're going to want to check out, besides artwork, licenses, check out your albums, your sound kits, all those things you have. Make sure all those things are up to date pricing, artwork. Check out your profile. Is your description, do you need to update your description? Did you get any more placements over the course of this year that you haven't added yet to your discography on BeatStars? Do you need to check out your discounts and coupon codes? Did you have any bulk discount running for the holiday season that you might have forgot about? Go ahead and check all those things out and make sure everything's up to date.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's definitely a great place to start.
And then Pro Page, obviously, Pro Page is a big one.
Yeah, obviously checking Pro Page. Make sure that, like, one of the things that we've seen sometimes when we look at when we've done Pro Page reviews in the past is like you'll have a menu at the top but it doesn't actually divert to anything. So just make sure that all the menu links, whatever you've got on your Pro Page, say you've got albums and stuff like that, make sure you do actually have albums on your Pro Page, so everything ties in together and there's nothing that's not amiss. So yeah, I think that's quite an important thing to do. I mean, that's something that you should be doing regularly anyway, really. I mean, but it's always good to kind of start the year off right. So if you have all that in mind and you've got all that out of the way, you can then, and you've set yourself your goals for 2022, then you have a clear mind and you can just go in the studio and create as much music as you want, right? So then you ain't got to worry about all that stuff.
Another big one I would recommend that I think some people might forget about, if you have any collaboration beats, go in, try to add those collaborators to your cart to make sure that any of your collaborators haven't disconnected their PayPals or if anything's wrong with their PayPals, because that might be preventing you from making sales. Check your own PayPal as well. Your own, maybe consider, if you don't have Stripe connected, maybe consider setting up a Stripe to start out the new year. Just make sure there aren't any of those like weird little things that you're going to be kicking yourself in the foot if one of those things prevents you from making a sale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's something like I did, just as an example, like something I did the other day. I just went through all of my mail that I'd collected for the whole of the year, and I was just reading through it and was like, well, I don't need this anymore. I don't need that anymore. It's just like getting rid of the trash, It's kind of like just starting the year off fresh, I was kind of like have that in my mind. So yeah,
it's a good feeling, and it's like an easy way to it's like an easy way to feel like you like accomplished something, right?
Yes.
It just always gives me like a boost of energy when I'm able to just like clean up. Like, it's like when you're a kid and you finally clean up your room and you're like, man,
Yeah.
I feel so much better. I wish I didn't wait so long to do that. That's
Yeah.
kind of like, this is like the adult version of that. Like, just
I think it's just a natural thing when Christmas comes around, right? Because you get all these presents, you pile your room up with all these presents, and then you got to find places for them to go, right? So whilst you're doing that, you're like, I just remember this as a kid, like you're right. I don't need that anymore, you know. Throw that out. I've got something new to replace it, you know. So it's kind of like, it's kind of. I know it sounds funny. It's a bit of a weird analogy, but that's the feeling I always get just after Christmas, you know. Just as you took your Christmas tree down for those that celebrate it. You know, it's like the room's bare right now. Do you know what I mean? It's just a really cool place to start.
right. Okay, so this comes to our next tip.
Yeah.
Is creating a plan of attack for quarter one.
Yes.
So some people in businesses like to look at years in quarters. So there's quarter one, which is January through March.
Yeah.
January through March. I like to separate these things into sections like this because a 3 month section is both a long enough time to set like big goals, and it's short enough to where you can check in to make sure you're not straying off the wrong path for the rest of the year. You don't want to set goals in 12-month increments because you might be off course by February, and then you're just like, and you just kind of waste the rest of the year being on this wrong path. So that's why I like to separate it into 3 months. It's long enough to be able to accomplish something big, but also early enough to check in to see how you're progressing. So you can make some changes if you feel like you need to for quarter two.
Yeah, and those goals obviously need to be realistic as well. You know, those are goals that need to be goals that you feel that you can reach. It doesn't hurt to like overreach sometimes, you know, because sometimes you can do that, but also you want to make it realistic. Because the reason why I say that is because if you set yourself goals that are way too realistic and you don't reach them, that may deter you, you know, or you might get a little bit disheartened by that. So to keep you motivated and to keep the vibe and keep the energy going, just set yourself realistic targets and goals.
Right. So if your goal, for example, is to create 2 beats a week,
Yeah.
right? And you just set this as a yearly goal and you don't check in until the end of the year. And you're like, and you should theoretically have 104, right? By the end of the year. If you get to the end of the year and you thought you were doing pretty good, like, oh, I missed one a week here, I got sick or whatever, I skipped a couple of weeks, and you get to the end of the year and you have like 40 instead of 104, you're gonna feel like you wasted the whole year.
Yeah.
So that's why I say do this in quarters. Check in March. If you check in and you see, okay, do I have my 24 yet or whatever? I can't do math in my head. Whatever whatever it should be by March. If you don't have that number that you should be at, you're going to want to go back and see, okay, what did I do wrong? So then quarter two, you can actually get there. You know what I mean? So, and don't set anything, too crazy, right? You might think that, or for some people, this may work. I don't want to speak for everybody. People, they can motivate themselves in different ways. But I've seen, I've seen from myself, like, you might think that you want to set like a huge goal. So you keep pushing harder and harder. But then all it's going to do is disappoint you when you don't reach it. You're going to feel like you didn't accomplish anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That's me personally. I like setting small goals. Like, don't just have goals that you should check in at the end of the quarter. Have bi-weekly ones that you can check in on, right? Like, okay, if you say one of my goals is to try out a new genre. I want to do my regular style that I do. I want to do my regular R&B beats that I'm known for, but I want to try out like some K-pop this year. I think that might be interesting. Look, if you get to the end of your first month and you haven't done a K-pop beat yet, you're like, okay, well, I need to start now because this is one of my goals. I have this much time left. And if you do complete one, you're like, man, it's only the first month and I already completed one of my goals. So I think, that's a good way to keep yourself motivated and keep, and have your goals kind of set, but also like feel free to adjust if your plans change.
Exactly. And you don't want to burn yourself out either, like physically and mentally. So like having these goals set and then checking in, and like Jamil said, it's for me, like I use this analogy sometimes. Like I always say to myself, I want to join a gym, right? So then I join, and then the first time I go, it's like, oh, it's a bit tough. But then after a week or so, I start to see the results because I keep going, and then it just gives you the motivation to keep doing it even more. So like having like setting these goals like that and checking in every now and again, like bi-weekly or weekly or however you want to do it, whatever suits you, can really build that motivation and keep the energy going, so you don't burn yourself out.
Right. Okay, this next goal, we kind of already started to talk about this now, but we'll just reiterate again in case if you wanted to write these down or if you're trying to keep track of these. Our fourth step for success in 2022 was figure out what types of beats you want to create this year and make a schedule for yourself. This schedule can go within like your Q1 plan. But yeah, I think besides like setting sales goals, I think since we're mostly probably all producers here, and the beats are really at the core of our business, make sure like you make a goal, you make it a point to write specifically about what kinds of beats you want to make. I think the new year brings like this reinvigorated energy of opportunity.
Yep.
Where you might start to like okay, this is a new year. I want to try something different. I want to expand my range, expand my taste. You should write these things down.
Yeah.
It'll help keep you focused if you just keep it around. Okay, I wanted to try to make beats in 5 different genres this year. Obviously, trying out a new genre could be a little bit intimidating. You might have to like relearn a lot of the basic principles that you've been using in your typical standard genre. And I know for myself, if things can be kind of hard or you're getting out of your comfort zone, you might try to like procrastinate and delay those things. Like, okay, I'll try it out. I'll try it out next week. I'm just gonna go back to my regular stuff. I'll try it out later. If you write this stuff down and you make it a point to write down exactly why you wanted to do this and how you think it would help you grow as a producer, as the owner of your own business. If you think that these are things that could really help you, commit yourself to it. Write it down as a goal.
Yeah.
And hold yourself to at least trying it.
Yeah. Well, I can give you a couple of examples of what, trying out a different genre, for instance, that could do for you. You already know you have your like specific style, for instance, already, and it kind of works for you, right? So you're thinking, right, well, maybe I want to reach a different type of audience, right? So then you try something else, or maybe what you could do is you could go back and read all of the messages that you got from all of your followers or on social media or last year. And I know, for instance, I got so many messages last year of people asking me, do I make Afro beats? Right. So maybe this year I should start thinking about making some Afro beats, right? Since I had so many people reaching out and asking for that style of beat. So those are the things that you can use. And then you can write that down, like Jamil was saying, and say, right, well, I want to make Afro beats because I had so many people reach out to me last year requesting that type, or I just want to expand my knowledge and learn something else. You never know, you might be able to utilize the two together, create your own genre if you wanted to, who knows?
Yeah.
And I don't think it hurts to like learn something new. I think if you're a person like me personally, and Jamil's the same, we love to learn, so I don't think it will hurt. You still have your core your core sound as such, for those that are producers, and yeah, just expand on that, and there's so many benefits of that, so you just need to write those down and what those benefits are, so you don't feel like you're like Jamil was saying, procrastinating you're not feeling too good about it. But if you understand the reason why you did it in the first place, then maybe it won't feel so bad, if it's not kind of working out straight away. So
Yeah. I know for me, like just keeping that motivation as like having like a visual representation
yeah,
of your motivation, right? Because I'm definitely prone to like putting off to putting off things that that go out of my comfort zone,
yeah,
right? And I think everybody might be everybody might be a little guilty of that. Besides maybe like the top percentage of us that are just like always super internally motivated and just kind of get things done. But yeah, I've always found that having these and having these written down somewhere and being able to check them off, it's been huge for me in terms of just like in terms of just like feeling motivated and feeling good about my accomplishments.
yeah.
So yeah, I would definitely recommend everybody try that out. Even if you don't want to try a new genre, these principles can be applied in so many different ways.
Exactly. Yeah. It could be, writing a blog, creating
Mm-hmm.
sound kits. Like there's so many different ways you could look at it, but
Mm-hmm.
we're going to talk about those a bit more in a bit. But
Right.
yeah.
Our fifth step for 2022 is to invest in your marketing. You know, the music obviously is the biggest component, right? The
Yep.
music comes first. The quality of your sound comes first. But if you're not doing the proper, marketing, promotion, advertising, people might not be able to see it or
Yeah.
find it, right? So investing in your marketing is a great way to to feel like you're really taking control and ownership of not only the music production but your business as a whole.
Exactly.
Um, there's some really good tools that we have integrated with BeatStars that are available right from within your account. Lee, did you want to talk about a couple of those really quickly? Our email marketing, our automation, our other automation features that we have. Maybe you could pull
Yeah.
those up and we just take a look at them.
Yep. Let me share. Let me add my screen back to the screen. um, yeah. So let's look at the marketing integration. So if you head to My Media and hit the marketing integrations tab, these are all the current marketing integrations that we have. So most of you would probably be familiar with this, but you have your email marketing integrations, which is MailChimp and Aweber. This is something else you can kind of do in your the bit that we said at the beginning, just overviewing your account, just make sure everything's set up correctly. You can obviously go in and add MailChimp if you haven't already, or Aweber for your email marketing. We also have Fan Connect as well. TubeBuddy is just details about a free kind of integration that you can have on YouTube. We have ManyChat, which is going to be your Facebook Messenger bot, which will appear on your pro page. And then you have Printful. So for those that maybe want to venture into creating some merchandise this year, that may not have done last year, could go ahead and do that. We actually have some tutorials on how to do that, so check out our YouTube channels if anyone's interested in starting some merch. Yeah, those are all the current marketing integrations. I'm sure we're going to have some more coming in the future at some point.
Right.
But
One thing I wanted to point out about all of these is, as a pro page user, you're going to be able to take
yep,
advantage of all of these. These all have these all have capability to work with free accounts.
yep,
There are premium features for most of them, I believe, that can that might give you the ability to kind of take your marketing to the next level.
yep,
But you don't need to pay to kind of use any of these
no,
really. So one big one that I think is something that everybody should do is at least set up some email marketing.
yep,
Email marketing is super important to be able to communicate with a fan base, to be able to kind of like have like, a list somewhere where you can see where all the people that are interested in your music kind of live, and how you can get into contact with them whenever you need to. So that's really big. There is, I think you can have a limited number of contacts for free with MailChimp.
I think it's 2,000. I think,
which is
not a good
it's
number.
pretty good. It's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
There are like premium account features. Like we have this one tutorial video kind of talking about like building a customer email journey that I made, and that is a premium feature. But really, I mean, you're able to use tools like this to send out, automated emails to people for free.
Yeah.
So really, when we say invest in your marketing, we don't just mean money. I think primarily what we mean is time and effort.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you're putting in the same effort into your marketing that you are into your actual production, you're really setting yourself up for, you're really setting yourself up for some big changes in the way that your music is reaching people.
It definitely, definitely, for sure. And that's something, me personally, I know I need to improve on, when it comes to, but there's always room for improvement. You're always going to be wanting to improve something, but that now's, beginning of the year, now's a good time to like put these goals down, like, for instance, if I want to send out, like we were saying, you want to set yourself targets to upload so many beats. You could do the same with your email marketing. You could decide how many automated emails do you want to send out in the first quarter, or or per week or per month. Check back to see what you did last year, and then figure out what gave you the best results as well.
Right.
What can you do to offer more value, to your customers and stuff like that.
Do you want to check out Studio really quickly? We had a question.
Yeah, sure.
So the other thing that we mentioned about investing in your marketing, kind of what another big thing that ties along with that is promotion and advertising. We do have BeatStars Promote, which is a feature that allows you to run promotions on your tracks for your profile and for your albums, right?
Yes.
So you can see these ads appearing all throughout the BeatStars marketplace. And I know people have great results with that, getting tons of impressions, tons of plays. This feature does cost money, but you can kind of quite easily see the results and the impact that it does have by running it. So if that was something that was within your budget for this year, I would definitely recommend that. Can you talk about how that kind of helped you, Lee, in the different ways that it has?
Yeah, I mean, BeatStars Promote helps me a lot. It really does. Especially, the good thing about BeatStars in general is we get a lot of traffic just naturally on the marketplace, right? But if you want to get your content in front of those people more, those people that naturally come to BeatStars anyway on a daily basis, this is a really good way to push your material or your beats, or whatever it is you're promoting, in front of people that are visiting the platform. And I saw a huge increase last year just because I used Promote more so that I did last year than the year before. And it really did help. I mean, I made some really good sales. I made some really good connections with people. And it really, really, really did help me. One of the things I noticed for me personally was I found Promote worked better if I was continuously using it. So, for instance, like I continue to promote my profile every week. So that really helps. Just a small budget, just $5 a day, I think, something like that. And I can show you an example of that. Hold on a second. So this is my Promote, and this will tell you like how many impressions I'm getting and the amount of followers I've gained, and all this can have a really good and adverse effect in a positive way, just to get your content in front of people more, so that's really what this. And what I love about BeatStars Promote personally is that it's very simple to use. I know Mike Trampy explains how to use Facebook ads really well, right? But I still struggled with that. to a certain point, because it's very complex. You've got to do a lot of testing, and it's good. It does work. Don't get me wrong, because I know a lot of producers that use it. Same as Google Ads. But I know BeatStars Promote for me. I upload a track and I can literally, within a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds even, just have something, my beat promoting or my album promoting or my profile promoting, It's just so simple and easy for me. So yeah, I mean, it has really, really helped me. I know a lot of people that use BeatStars Promote, and it's really helped them too. So, and I think at some point this year, there'll be some improvements coming to a lot of the stuff on the platform in general, anyway. But yeah, obviously you don't use BeatStars, the platform directly, do you, Jamil? So obviously, I can't ask you what effect it had on you for last year.
Yeah, no, it didn't. It didn't help me too much last year. I wasn't selling beats.
Did you
But
promote your
no, I
profile?
mean, I've been able to see how much it's been able to help people. Just
Yeah,
to get that visibility. A lot of people, when they first start out, kind of ask about like, how do I get more plays? How do I get more traffic? Well, this is one way.
yeah,
This is one way to get it. So, if you've been producing for a while, you've never really set yourself an advertising or marketing budget. It might be a good idea to kind of set aside some of that money you've made from sales and reinvest it back in your business.
yeah, definitely.
Maybe if you buy like if you have like a couple of times a year where you use your money to buy like a VST, maybe try out maybe skip on that one time and
Yeah,
try out paying for some marketing services or buying some promotion.
yeah. And the cool thing about the other thing just to add about BeatStars Promote as well is that, like, if you have one of the things I noticed is that my actual email marketing list increased because I have the free download option that I offer for most of my. In fact, I have it on all my beats. So when I'm pushing my content in front of people, they can see and download that stuff for free. So I might not necessarily be getting a sale straight away off of BeatStars Promote, right? But my email marketing list is increasing, which then enables me to potentially build relationships with those people and then potentially get sales in the future with them, offer them some value, make them feel comfortable about, purchasing beats off me, or just keeping people informed and updated about what I'm doing. So there's so many ways that you can use promote for, just mainly to get your content in front of people, but it's up to you, like, how you utilize it, so I think it's a great tool personally.
Right. All right. Let's move on to the next one. We only have about 18 minutes left in the show.
Wow, damn, it's flown in.
So our sixth step is to build the foundation for new revenue streams. Something that you hear a lot of people talk about is having multiple streams of revenue.
Yep.
But that's kind of an intimidating task, or it might sound like an intimidating task to kind of start out of nowhere. And that's why we think the new year is a great time to start thinking about a lot of these things. Besides producing within the music world, what else do you feel like you have a niche in, or what else do you feel like you've wanted to explore but haven't had the opportunity yet? Have you wanted to try making sound kits? Have you wanted to try starting a podcast? Have you ever wanted to make a YouTube channel where you make YouTube tutorials showing people the way that you make beats? All of these things, along with making you money on their own, you're doing some organic promotion and advertising for your beat business, right?
Yep.
All these things can kind of go hand in hand. We're in this age of kind of like everybody has a podcast. I feel like that's something that's grown a lot over the last couple of years. But still, within music production, I don't feel like that the podcast world or the vlog world has really been tapped into to its fullest extent. There are like some music business oriented podcasts and shows, but there's still like there's so much more to do within that space. have you ever like searched for something related to music production, like on YouTube, and like kind of struggled to find something that you were interested in, Lee? Was there anything in particular that comes to mind for you where you're like, man, why is nobody doing this?
No, not really. But that's a good question. Maybe we should look into that. Maybe we should look at something. Maybe we should really think about, oh, is there something that whether it's in production or anything like that, like could be something simple that you think, well, how do I do that? Or how do I, since I'm going into making potentially I'm not saying I will, but Afro beats this year.
Mhm.
There might be like, how do I sequence the drums? I don't know. I've never searched YouTube, but just as an example, I'm sure there is. But maybe we should sit there and think, oh, is there something that I really struggle with? Yeah, I can't find that on YouTube. Or is there something that uh, I'm skillful at, but I know a lot of other people struggle with, but I can't find any tutorials in it? Maybe I could be the first person that could offer that offer that insight and those skills and share those skills with someone else. So who knows? It could be something to do with your music software. It could be something that you found like a really cool cheat, or like a sneaky little like way. It could be anything. Something to improve the workflow, or speed up your process or something. It could be anything. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's something that I need to look into. So thanks for bringing
Yeah,
it up.
exactly. I just
Yeah.
think like, the new year is a great time to start thinking about like expanding your
Yep.
business. If you feel like I had a really good year last year, but I kind of feel like I'm just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. Maybe like you did well enough selling beats to kind of commit to it full time, and now you're finding yourself with a little bit of extra time. I mean, like as creative people, like you are, I think you would be able to kind of maybe more easily than the average population kind of slip into different worlds of whether it's like, whether it's vlogging, whether maybe you're a producer and you want to start trying to explore who you are as an artist.
Yeah.
There's multiple ways to kind of get your creativity out there and multiple ways to make money. You shouldn't just kind of box yourself into this one thing. Like, okay, I'm a producer, I make beats, and that's it. You could be so much more.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Exactly.
and all of these things can help you in your main business if that's still your main goal. And who doesn't want a little bit of extra money, even if it's just a little bit from like the ad revenue from maybe a YouTube video doesn't hurt, right? So
No,
I
of
think
course
setting the
not.
foundation for those things early on in the year. You don't have to start it right away. Maybe that's one of your goals. I want to start a YouTube channel by quarter 4. Maybe that's one of the things that you do. But now is the time to figure it out so you can kind of put it within your yearly kind of rough calendar.
Exactly. Yeah. And you were saying there about, you might want to explore yourself as an artist. Well, if you do, make sure you use BeatStars distribution. That's why I kept this page up, because that's another
Mhm.
way that you can, earn revenue and get your music out to your fans. I actually plan this year. One of my goals that I set was every beat that I release, I'm gonna onto BeatStars, upload on the BeatStars. I'm actually gonna release through distribution as well, because I've seen the potential that you can have, and who knows, you could reach different audiences. So because it's going out on different platforms. So yeah. So I just
All
wanted
right,
to add that in there.
for sure. These next two, I'm going to package together just so we can save a little
Yep.
bit of extra time.
Yeah.
Steps number 7 and 8 are network with new people and talk to your audience. Both of these both deal with like communication and leaving an open line of dialogue. I know that producers typically have been like, or historically have been like a behind the scenes kind of person. Whenever you hear about a big song coming up, you just hear the artist name, right? Obviously, the
Yeah.
producer info is there, but most people don't put their producer in the title. But that doesn't mean you have to stay kind of low key and quiet and behind the scenes. I think networking with people is really like one of the keys and one of the best things about the BeatStars platform. You know, you guys are, really kind of all in this together. We're kind of like in uncharted territories, right? Where we're kind of breaking new ground all the time within like this online beat leasing industry, where we're doing things that have never been done before, and we don't have to go through that alone. You guys are all effectively coworkers, colleagues here. So it's good to kind of like treat it that way. It's good to have friends. It's good to share knowledge. It's good to share experiences. Like, if you have something where you feel like you went wrong, why wouldn't you want your friends and fellow creatives to avoid those mistakes if possible?
Yeah.
Networking with people can make you money by having collabs. If you have somebody who has a larger audience than you, or not even necessarily larger, but maybe a different audience than you, and you guys combine your two audiences by creating a collab, or it's showing up on both of your profiles, this is an amazing way to continue to grow and to learn new things. You can take different things from different people, even if you guys are making the same type beat. Everybody kind of has their own style and their different ways. And collaboration is a beautiful thing because everybody benefits from it.
100%. Yeah. And like you say, I think there's something, me personally, I've learned a lot from doing collaborations with people, and it's a really, really cool way to network and get your content and your beats in front of, other audiences, and like you say, it benefits both sides, you're both sharing each other's audiences, which is great.
And then our next part was talking to your audience. Communication has to flow in multiple directions. It's great to be able to talk to fellow producers or artists to kind of get creative projects going. But once you create a project, how do you get it out to people? And how do you know if people are going to like it? Or how do you know if people who have purchased it have liked it? If they've encountered any issues, if there's anything new that they want? Why don't you try sending out a customer survey? This goes hand in hand with email marketing. If you have an email list set up where you have an audience, you don't just need to do it to send them, hey, I got a new beat up. Hey, I got this discount. Check it out. Hey, I want to sell you this. I want to sell you that. Why don't you talk to them and ask them what they want, so you can actually make that stuff and they'll buy it, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, sending out new beats is probably 1A of being able to, the things that you want to do with an email list, but it doesn't just stop there. Talking to your audience and getting the feedback from them, sending out a customer survey, which you can automate using tools like MailChimp, to see kind of like where people are in their process, to kind of open up a friendly line of dialogue where they're sharing their experience with you, and they're sending you the beats they're sending the songs that they made with your beats back, so you don't just have to randomly search for them or find them. Creating that good relationship is going to be really beneficial to you from the artist, especially if you want them to keep spending their money in your store.
Exactly. And that communication could be generic as well. It doesn't necessarily need to be solely based on your beat selling business. You could, like, for instance, you're setting yourself some goals, right, for 2022. Maybe you could share those goals with your email subscribers, and then ask them questions and say, hey, what's your goals for 2022? Have you set yourself any? Or give them some advice on how they can set their goals. Give them some of these steps that we're sharing with you today. So yeah, I mean, and figure out ways that you can build those relationships better. And definitely email marketing is definitely, I mean, there's loads of ways, but email marketing is definitely a great way to do that.
Right, for sure. That's the first one that came to mind. That's why I just mentioned it. But there's other ways to communicate with people too.
Yeah, of course,
Another great way to communicate with your audience is kind of goes hand in hand with our second to last tip, creating a niche on social media.
Yeah.
Having a big presence on social media can really kind of take your business to the next level. Having an interesting presence, having something that people want to go, having a page that people want to go visit, can really make the difference in finding your beats and completing sales. I think the most basic way to utilize social media as a producer, as a beat seller, is kind of just like every time you upload a beat, just post a visualizer of it with the beat and say like new beat available. But there's so many different ways. There's so many different things that you can do to take it to the next level. And something that we kind of wanted to talk about with like the changing social landscape, where you're kind of seeing like new platforms be dominant all the time, is that there isn't one platform that works for everyone. I think TikTok is the big one right now that people are kind of trying to get into, kind of trying to like, to flock to and sort of create stuff on there. But, if it's not working for you, the classics are still available. The classics like Instagram and Twitter are there. You kind of just got to figure out what works for you. Figure out what kind of material resonates with your audience. Is it cook-up videos? Are cook-up videos creating more traffic for you on your site? Is it those kind of just like simple visualizers with the price of the beat or a new beat available? Is that what's working for you? Are kind of like tips and tricks for artists, if you make some stuff like that, like what is your niche? Like, what is your brand?
Yeah.
I think this is a good thing to try to figure out at the beginning of the year, and also put along with your goals for Q1. Maybe this is a Q2 goal for you, if Q1 isn't a realistic time to get into it. But just kind of like keeping these things in mind and setting a goal for yourself of where exactly you want to be on social media.
Yeah, I mean, you can make it personable as well. It doesn't necessarily, you don't have to share like your beats. Maybe, I don't know, maybe you went somewhere that's got some nice views. You could take those photos, because people love to see, love to get a bit more personable and get to know you a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
I think I I did a post last year which Jamil loved, and it was me explaining what producers do once they've made a beat. They're dancing to it in their studio, they're feeling good about it. Just stuff like that, just showing yourself a little bit. It doesn't have to be your beat. So one of the things I noticed for me personally last year that did really well was posting pictures of my studio. That was crazy, the amount of people that reposted those studio pictures. They loved it.
Levi gets so many reposts. I see them all the time. It's so cool. But I mean, like, that's kind of like what you have to figure out, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't experiment, if you're not trying new things, you don't know like what works for you. Something that's popular with a lot of people are these lifestyle posts where they're posting pictures on the beach, or like in like in a great like in a really like extravagant resort or something. If you're doing stuff like that all the time, people might like that. You never know. You just have to figure out like what exactly it is about you that people that's resonating with people.
Yeah, I mean, another example, like if you're into fitness, and I've seen someone else do this recently, and they're showing off their six-pack and stuff like that. I wouldn't necessarily suggest doing that, but like if you're into fitness, like you could show someone or show your audience like a fitness routine that you have, but have your beats playing in the background. Like there's so many different ways you can just show a beat yourself. I had an idea. I love cooking, so I thought, why not like have me laptop, I'm cooking up beats, but I'm cooking my meals at the same time. Like that could be something to venture into. Who knows?
You're flipping a pancake in one hand, and then you got like
and then I'm on the MIDI keyboard on the other.
MIDI keyboard on the other one. You gave me an idea. I think I'm gonna roll with six-pack beats. I think that's gonna be my persona. The only thing I need is to get a six-pack and to learn how to make beats. I'm like right there. I'm so close.
You could get yourself a six-pack of beer instead.
Six-pack of beer. See, this is why we have this show. This is why I need you to keep suggesting these things, or else I would never think of them. Coming up on the end here, so let's go ahead and get up to our last step. Our last tip for success in 2022, and that is have fun. The reason you're in this business, the reason you're here right now, is because you have taken the biggest step, which is pursuing your passion. And there's no reason to burn yourself out or lose your passion trying too hard to make things work that aren't working. Setting unrealistic expectations and standards for yourself, it could lead you down a wrong path where you're once doing this thing that you loved, and now you're stressed out about it and trying too hard and losing your passion. You don't want to do that. I think mental health is very important, and especially for things that you love. There are a lot of other things in life that we can't avoid that are stressful, that are hard. This shouldn't be one of them. You should put yourself first in all of these things and make sure you're having fun doing what you're doing, because that's why you started in the first place. Don't lose sight of that. This is a journey. There are ups and downs, but every day that you make a commitment to pursue your passion is a successful day. You shouldn't forget that, and you shouldn't forget how far you've come, and how much there is left in your journey of growing and being in this music industry, which is a crazy kind of tough thing to do and a crazy thing to navigate. But as long as you're enjoying yourself, having fun along the way, and taking everything that comes with it in stride, everything else is going to kind of happen the way it should.
Yeah, it does. And I find that personally myself, if I'm in a happy place personally and I'm making sure I'm having fun with things just tend to fall into place. I make better beats, for instance, because I'm happier. Your mindset's a bit better. And I know and I know, a lot of other creatives as well, like they need to feel that energy to be able to produce the best of themselves, and that's, at the end of the day, when you're creating music, that music is a part of yourself, right? So if you're being the best part of yourself, more than likely you're going to be creating the best music you've ever made, so definitely make sure you keep having fun and keep that, the mindset and your mental health, at the top of your list. Make sure that you do that. It's very key.
For sure. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. We're super proud of you for joining us in another year of improving yourself, of doing this crazy music thing that you guys are kind of all doing. We wish you all the success in the world in 2022, and we're gonna be there for you guys, hopefully 100%. Along the way. We'll be here still. I don't think we've gotten canceled yet, so we'll be here every 2 weeks to kind of bring new stuff.
Yeah, we're always bringing this new stuff to you guys. So yeah, thanks again, everyone, for joining today. Great session, and if any of you have got some goals that you've set, yourself for this year, make sure you share them with us. Just message us and say, hey, look, and we'd love to hear from you.
For sure. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yes. Peace out, everyone. Have a good rest of the week. Peace.